What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video in the YZ250F build series. In the last video, you saw me complete the rest of the bottom end of the engine and start to build the top end up a little bit. In this one, we're going to complete the top end. I'm going to set the valve clearance so you guys can watch how I do that and take away the good, and then maybe you might do something differently than me. But I'm going to be doing it a little bit differently than what the manual says to do, because I'm not going to put the chain on. I'm just going to line up the timing marks so that you can check the valve clearance, and I'll go from there, because I might have to get some shims, so we'll see. So I got the engine out on the bench here, and I'm going to be setting these valves today, or trying to. I have the valve clearances over on my computer on the service manual. I'll link it down below again to what I'm using there. And I also got this little diagram out just to kind of help me know what I need to do as far as shimming if I need to. But first of all, I'm going to put probably do the intake first. So I'm going to put the intake cam in and set it up as if the engine was in top dead center. So what I've got here is the intake cam. And what I'm going to do is, I didn't think to mark which of these shims came out of the valve. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of take a guess right now, and then put the cam back on, and then check the shimming, and then go from there. Just kind of see if I can get it as close as possible, doing like trial and error. So when you're taking these apart, in my haste and inexperience, I just pulled all the buckets out and all the shims out, and I didn't think about marking what came out of where. So now I'm stuck with kind of having to do trial and error to get them back as close to where it was as possible. So I'll install them right now, and then I'll start measuring the clearances and see where I'm at. So I have the cam set to the position it would be in if the chain was on it and it was in top dead center. So these marks are lined up just like they're supposed to be with the case halves. And the cam position is about where it's supposed to be on the other side. So now I can put in my feeler gauges in here and check the clearances on the valves there. So I did a little bit of measuring here, and basically what I did is I had to, you can buy a set of Tusk feeler gauges, but these feeler gauges here I had to cut. And basically what I found is that this one here is about 13. You get a nice drag there on the 0.13 mil, and the spec is between 0.10 and 0.15. So this one here is really tight in the middle, and this one here is really loose on the side. So I think I nailed this one, but I think I'll swap these two out and see how they go. Okay, so I think I got it here. So the 0.13 mil is just a tad tight on both of these. And let me switch here. And the 0.10 mil is going in with just a tiny bit of drag. It's probably a little bit loose for my liking, but that tells me that it's within spec. So it's just a little bit, probably, I don't know, 0.11 or 0.12 ish. So that's well within spec. So the spec is 0.10 to 0.15. So all these valves are within spec. So I'm gonna move on to the exhaust valves. I'll tighten all these down later because I have to take this all out again. Everything but the buckets and shims, because I gotta get that chain out of there and get the timing chain on after. But I'll move on to the exhaust valves for now. So I got the exhaust done here, and they're like in the 17, 18 ish range for millimeters. So it's 0.17, 18 millimeter. Went in there with a nice light drag on it. Anything more is starting to get a little too much, and a little bit less was a little bit too loose. So these exhaust valves seem perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that timing chain back on. Okay, I got the chain tensioner in and it's all tensioned up. Everything's good here. All these dots are lined up with the case half the way they're supposed to be. It seems on this one it's like just a little bit out here, but if you move it another tooth, it puts it way out. So I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm gonna spin it over with the Kickstarter and make sure, but that's pretty well, that's definitely looks time to me. So on the bottom here, see if we can see in there. If you can see it there, there's a little bit of white paint on it, but it's got to be lined up there. So that's top dead center there, and these are all lined up here on the timing. So I'm gonna kick it over a little bit and see how it works, and it should move a lot more smooth than it used to. Put the Kickstarter on now and crank it over and see how it feels. Hard on the bench, but there we go. Just can't get the leverage. Other than that though, it feels awesome. It feels way better than it did before. So I'm gonna flip it back over and I'm gonna turn it over with the wrench just to see how it feels. I just wanted to kick it over with the Kickstarter because that's obviously how you're gonna get her started when it's time to go. I'm gonna crank it over nice and easy with the ratchet here. You just see how it goes, because it used to feel pretty bad there. Now it feels just awesome. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to feel there. It's cranking over really nice and easy, just due to the fact that I don't have the spark plug in either. So that'll tell a lot when the spark plug's back in it. I'm sure it'll have tons of compression because I just did the rings. So other than that, that's pretty much it for the engine. I'm still waiting on the bolts for the cover. That was missing on the, I'll flip it around and show. So you put the cover on and there's some bolts that go into these threads here, and those were missing altogether, so I had to order some new ones. So I'm waiting for that to get the cover on. Other than that, this engine is done and pretty much ready to go back on the bike. So that's awesome. There it is, guys. I just put the cover on temporarily. These are the bolts that are missing. They're little bolts with rubber pieces on them, so that's what keeps the head cover on. So other than a few little things I gotta clean, I'm gonna call this done. And it turned out really good, so I'm really happy with this. Just to give you an idea on what this engine was at, that's the hour meter that came off of it. So you're looking at about 160 hours or so on this engine. So it kind of makes sense that it was getting a little bit rough around the edges. So I'm glad it's turning over the way it does now, and I'm glad it looks the way it does now, because it's came a long way since I took it apart there. So I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I got the engine behind me like 98% finished. It's pretty well ready to go back into the frame. So there's a few little things I gotta do before that happens, but that's definitely gonna be in the next video. So if you guys wanna see that, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. And as always, thanks a lot for watching.